Steer clear of the children. We don't tolerate infanticide here.
Gets a little angry look in his eye. Yeah, I don't either.
Then we are in accord.
Yes, I'll be in touch. But I'd love to talk about your art too. You seem a little busy. Perhaps another night.
Visit tomorrow night and we can talk about it, and I will give you some names of pieces and people.
Perfect. Sounds perfect. See you then.
Which point do you all head out? Yeah.
Yeah.
Back over at the Scarlet Lounge. Where do y'all go from there?
Yeah, maybe some plotting for what we do.
I think that went fairly well.
Matt huffs and says, I didn't even get to tell him about his audio system.
Should have said something.
He's upset now.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
That went better
unfortunately
for
not
you
the
than
best idea.
it did for us.
I shared some interest with him, and that formed an easy conversation. I'm actually excited about this art gallery thing. It's exactly the sort of thing that I love to deal with.
How old are you?
Matt blurts out that it's tactically disadvantageous to share that.
Jackson, we're going to be close. I'm not your father, but think of me as family, I guess, for now. Because honestly, I'm going to do my best to try and look out for you and teach you what you need to know. Ask me anything.
I don't have questions for now.
Just think about what you want to do next. Honestly, I know things are complicated and unknown at the moment, but once you have an idea of what you want to do, I'll see what I can recommend. Come to me, we'll discuss it through.
All right.
As for the rest of you, my offer to help you all stands. I need your permission to feed, of course, in your domain. Happy to pay my way. Honestly, if you just want some money, sounds like once I get some of this art, it might be worth some cash to the Baron.
Money is nice, power is better.
Well, speaking of that, I do have a little, shall we say, talent. I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. Collected quite a bit of disciplines. And if there's anything in particular that you wish to be taught, I've a little bit of everything is the best way to put it.
Interesting offer.
So, like, you could teach
Just
me that
leaving it
thing
out.
Candy does where people forget stuff?
Dancing on a stage?
No, like people's memories change.
Candy will slant her eyes
Yeah.
and pull a gun out of somewhere that you do not know. Don't say
Mhm.
anything, and she will put it back.
He did reach under your skirt.
It's
Gonna-
in the
Could you
thigh. I have
Oh,
more
that,
things
okay.
than dance, motherfucker.
He said it in a joking manner, if that helps.
Oh no, it wasn't pointed at him at all. It was just a
Yeah.
showing and then putting it back.
I actually know that trick, how to make people forget, yes.
It would be very useful for me. I've formed a group of people, but I have no idea how I'm going to make feeding off of them happen again without that.
It is very useful for setting yourself up a little hunting tactic. Obviously, it sounds like Candy is willing to teach you, but I'm happy to offer it if that is something you want from me. I can also teach you other things and so forth.
Matt looks at Candy with a big smile. Well, Candy, would you?
Of course I teach you, honey. We can all take turns. You can have different teachers. That's the best way to learn something is have multiple people teach you
Yeah.
the same thing.
And you barely know me.
Especially considering the subject matter. The whole point is you actually forget the things, so you might have to learn it a couple times.
A few times. That's fair.
Don't practice in a mirror.
Oh god.
I have certain skills like that, I suppose, that I can offer, which might be useful to you all if there's anything you want to learn. If there's anything about art, honestly, that's my specialty. Like I said, I hung out with a lot of toreadors.
Okay. I've got my own art. Maybe we can compare notes sometime.
Certainly.
Right.
For the rest of the night, does anyone have any plans?
Wants to go through the TV guide before he makes any plans.
When did
I'm
Tiva?
probably going to relieve Darla for the rest of her shift, however much longer that is.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's getting late.
It wasn't that long of a meeting and that long of a drive. It's only now ticking towards midnight.
Evo wasn't until 99, so not yet.
Yeah, I just looked it up too. Yep. All right. Think I'll get to work on teaching Jackson a little bit about things and honestly just spending the night. It's fine if I feed here if I'm discreet.
Number one thing, get consent for something first. Don't try and force it.
Tilts his head. What? Consent for eating? Or.
Consent for
Maybe.
whatever you're making it look like.
Yes.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. I was a little confused. I'm like, are you consensualists? Because I'm not really a siren. That's not really my thing.
Candy will chuckle and smile.
What the hell are you guys talking about?
Just some terminology for different ways of going about feeding. Sirens are ones who seduce their prey, let's just say.
So you're a pervert.
I said I'm
Excuse
not
me?
a siren.
A reality pervert.
No, this is really great for me all the time. Totally. I love having to do this to eat. This is great for me.
You do what we must.
A beast I am, lest a beast I become.
Give Candy just a little pat on the back.
Candy will sigh. Just a little and shrink down a little bit.
How long can we go without eating?
Depends
Depends.
on the person and a lot of other things.
If you try to push yourself with various things, you get hungry quicker. If you just hang out and don't do much of anything, it doesn't come up quite as much.
Think of it less like a science and more like an art. It is based on your own self control as well as being able to efficiently use the blood in your body. But eventually you will need to eat.
Right.
The whole hunger scale when you were alive thing. Hey, I'm going to be going on a hike later, so I'm going to pack up on calories, or I'm probably not going to get a chance to eat for the next couple hours, so I'm going to grab a bite now. That sort of thing. It still matters. It's just a bit of a different format.
Yeah.
Okay.
The hangry has a mind of its own.
Are
Oh,
you
yes.
feeling hungry?
Oh, no. I actually don't feel anything at all.
Yes, this is another point to bring up. Feeding, never kill through feeding if you can, because that's the way the beast wants you to. The reason you don't feel hungry is because you actually killed the other night and the beast is sated for the moment, briefly. It's the only time you'll ever feel this way.
Right. So killing people makes me feel normal.
But don't
But-
do that.
It's like any other drug. If you keep doing it, it's going to wear off a bit quicker every time. At least that's what I heard.
There's one other thing to warn you about of importance. We're talking about sharing our disciplines, which are basically certain abilities like making mortals forget things and such. Do that requires you to share a little bit of your blood with the person who is going to learn the ability so that you can teach them. However, there's a risk to this called the blood bond. If you drink on 3 separate nights, 3 drinks from the veins of another kindred, you'll become bonded to them. It is a form of mental corruption and control. It makes you fall into some sort of perverse, I've heard it described as love or a willingness to serve them, so much so that you believe it to be real. And you will flatly deny if anyone tries to point out that you are not behaving as yourself. It is something that any kindred can do to you. It's to be avoided. Don't just drink from the veins of other kindred without understanding. It gets progressively stronger every drink you take until the 3rd drink when the bond is complete. It takes a long time to break that. It requires distance to remove yourself from their presence.
So,
Doesn't even matter if they're dead, Candy will say, walking across the room.
aren't we all?
Really? I thought it was broken as soon as someone dies.
Candy's hasn't broken.
Perhaps they're not actually dead then. Did you see final death?
It was an art gallery that burned to the ground because the psycho bitch told the new kids to go burn the place to the fucking ground. Was he on the news?
He wasn't. He ostensibly died many years ago, so he
Right,
wouldn't
he
have been.
wouldn't have been.
For whatever reason, he was not on the news.
I don't know.
So you say you still feel this bond to them? Are you sure it's a blood bond at all? Maybe it's actual genuine feelings if they're really dead.
Candy's eyebrows will go all the way up, and you will see a look on her face. This is not something I want.
Then they're still alive. That's all I can say. My understanding is that the blood bond is broken upon death.
Fox still has the same thing, right?
Fox still feels the bond, yes.
Also, the reason why we are seeking to stay here and not just staying on the road is it's very dangerous to travel between cities. There are werewolves, as you heard, which live out in the wilds. I think we already covered this last night, but just to reiterate, a single werewolf is a match for most kindred, one on one, even two on one sometimes, or four on one, as some cases may be. They are extremely dangerous. Their claws and their teeth can rend you and kill you permanently, as can the fire and the sun. They will usually sense vampires coming through their domain. It's a risk that's not taken lightly. If you want to travel, planes are safer than driving. Even then, you have to be careful not to get caught in the sun.
Yeah.
Make sure you take the time zones into account.
Yep.
3 XP for everybody.
Let's go.
Woot.
Let's go.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. It was a great game. See you next week.
See ya.
This episode has been brought to you by Oxygen for the players, not the kindred.
We just hear that out of nowhere.
Bold of you to assume that I need oxygen.
No, that's just what all of us hear that night in torpor.
No, just the ones with Ox specs.
All of us here. Oh no, never.
So I can hear that. All right.
Matt just starts
Alright.
projecting a very special episode.
All
Yeah,
right,
it's just
thank you,
one of the
everybody.
commercials I'm remembering above my head.
And good night.
Good night.
Right.